more, listen to the podcast. Just search for Hancock and Kelly.
Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris sat down for her first interview since becoming the nominee. She addressed her changing positions on the border crisis, a fracking ban, and a mandate on electric vehicles.
The most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed.
As a candidate for president in 2019, she supported an absolute ban on fracking, a mandate that only electric cars would be sold by 2045, and the decriminalization of illegally crossing the U.S. border. All positions she has now changed. Your thoughts, Michael?
And those were all positions when she lost badly in the Democratic primary. And that was at a time the Democratic Party was moving to this leftist ideology. Joe Biden brought us back to the center. What we have here with Kamala Harris is she's had 4 years of getting to take batting practice. And she's made herself a better, stronger candidate. She's well-disciplined. Of course, a candidate's going to the middle. Geez, I wish Donald Trump would do that.
Why can't they just say that? You know, I changed my mind. Instead of saying, well, my values haven't changed, because people see that as a wink and a nod to that progressive thing. And if she gets elected, she's going back left.
Well, I think that's a concern because we really don't know Kamala Harris that well. And we do know what her positions have been historically. I don't think she certainly didn't bomb that interview, but she didn't knock it out of the park either. And I think voters are right to be concerned that she's really a leftist and she's going to say what she needs to say to get elected. And then if she's governing, look out.
Democrats point to the changing stances of her Republican opponent, who once favored abortion rights, then bragged about appointing the Supreme Court justices who helped overturn Roe versus Wade. Donald Trump is now proposing a mandate to cover the cost of in vitro fertilization, or IVF.
The government is going to pay for it, or we're going to get or mandate your insurance company to pay for it, which is going to be great.
He also said Friday that he does not support Florida's ban on abortion after 6 weeks. There's a proposal on the ballot to overturn that. In his words, John, Mr. Trump says, I want more weeks.
Yeah, and you know, this is interesting because the particularly evangelical voters who are pro-life, one of the reasons they really have passionately supported Donald Trump was because of the pro-life position. Wanting more weeks is not a pro-life position, is it? It's a pro-choice position. On the IVF, Donald Trump, by mandating that insurance companies cover IVF, is going to raise the cost of insurance. That's what mandates do. It's not a conservative position. It's a populist position. It's a really good issue on how Donald Trump, the populist, is fundamentally different than from a traditional conservative Republican.
Michael?
There's no grand plan here. This is not some strategy that Donald Trump has. This probably came up on television or in some poll that he saw, and he came out and said this out of his mouth. It may help move him someplace to the middle, but the real question is for my entire adult life, the pro-life movement has been principled and pure on their belief. They've also been some of the strongest supporters of Donald Trump. How can they stand by and go along with this? Because Donald Trump just threw them under the bus.
Does it help him more with outreach to the other side than it hurts him with the base?
If you're pro-choice and that's a voting issue for you, you're not going to vote for Donald Trump. If that's your voting issue.
But pro-lifers might be like, I don't know about this guy.
Well, and I don't know that he's going to bleed much here, but he does run that risk by taking that particular position. He's in a tricky spot.
Still to come on Hancock and Kelly, a judge puts a proposal for a new Lake of the Ozarks casino on the ballot. And in our quote of the week, Democrats fight to keep candidates like Green Party candidate Jill Stein off the ballot. Is that protecting democracy?